the second Obama inaugural is done. It'll clearly dominate the headlines in this country, but what about overseas? We're going to talk about that a little bit with a couple of our journal colleagues around the world. Bruce Orwall from London and Sam Schechner from Paris. Bruce, I think we'll start with you. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
So not heavy on, you heard the speech, not heavy on foreign policy, but there was talk about the U.S. anchoring alliances in every corner of the globe. I guess at a time when people wonder, is the U.S. leading from in front or leading from behind, what do you think the reaction is going to be?
Well, definitely at this moment, you'll, at a moment where there's this Algerian hostage crisis that's just climaxed, you're going to see some eagerness for the U.S. to step up and show some leadership in the developing issue in North Africa, for example. David Cameron has been, in the last few days, very much pounding the table for a global response to this kind of thing. So the world continues to turn to the U.S. for these kinds of things.
And Sam, of course, the French government actively involved in rooting out militants in Mali. How are they reacting to this speech, or how will you expect them to react?
Well, I mean, I think there's already been a little bit of tension that we've seen. You know, the U.S. is providing some logistical support, but you see that there's people in the French government who believe that they should provide more. There was a kerfuffle over, you know, whether the U.S. Whether France should repay the U.S. for use of their planes. So, you know, I think that people here in Paris certainly, from what you hear in the government, are expecting a more active role from Obama in the second term.
Bruce, you know, I wonder if this entire mess in Africa that we're talking about now, a problem in Mali, problem in Algeria, obviously that was huge, previously a problem in Libya, is having a kind of a salutary effect, and it's convincing people in Europe and the U.S. that they're still bonded together and they can't really act alone. And that may have been the backdrop of what President Obama just said.
Definitely. The U.S. and the U.K., the U.K. side particularly, still loves to talk about the special relationship and how close they are. David Cameron rarely misses an opportunity to talk about how close he is to Barack Obama when prompted.
Okay, back to Sam now. Sam, because the U.S. military is like out sort of guns every other military, certainly in Europe. Is it? Do the French see it as unreasonable to not expect help when this is supposed to be a quote global war on terror?
Unreasonable to not expect. I mean, I think that the French definitely feel proud of the fact that they're leading this operation, but I do think that they want help from their allies. And you know, when it comes to Mali, there's questions of the help from neighboring nations, whether that will you know, prove sufficient. But I think it's interesting, at least the rhetoric around the speech. It obviously was covered pretty significantly here. But when you watched it on the French channels, they weren't really drawing that much of a connection. It was almost an ethnographic exercise looking at how the United States does this sort of thing. They spent time explaining how Beyonce and Jay-Z, the outsized role they play in U.S. politics, calling Jay-Z the actual president of the United States at one point on a channel. So, you know, there's sometimes a little bit of a disjuncture between maybe how the government officials and how we're looking at it and how it's portrayed in the media here.
Okay, Sam, I think something lost in the Jay-Z translation a little bit there. So anyway, thanks for joining us, Sam and Bruce. Appreciate it very much.